And welcome to the Tetris Addiction Clinic, Dad and Sons. You are welcome here. All of your addictions, from Tetris to Battle Royales to other puzzle games, anything that has been haunting your dreams, like most recently, Tetris 99, you are welcome here. Joining me are my fellow addicts / doctors, Mr. George Wiedemann, Professor George Wiedemann, PhD in getting pissy about free puzzle games.
I just want to open up to all of you and say it's been very hard on me, but I do aim to start here and try to have
get your 90-day chip.
Try to discover more important things that I can hopefully use to fill this hole in my life that Tetris has destructively been corroding around. The hole, it's been expanding and tearing, if you will.
And of course, we have the guy who we don't know why he's at the clinic, because he inevitably hasn't played Tetris 99 because it's not his jam. Matthew, the
Hola.
visual.
Hola. How's everybody doing today?
How is your addictions, sir? How are they?
Oh, they're fine.
Addicted to the hustle, correct?
Yeah, that's more like definitely addicted to the hustle. Yeah, addicted to paying the bills with jobs.
We've both been working a lot, haven't we, Matt?
Yeah,
Both been working a lot, unlike
long hours.
Some professors out there. We've been at this clinic day and night. What have you been doing? Welcome to Dad and Sons, where sometimes we talk about video games.
Yeah, George. What have you been doing?
Two of us have jobs, George. So what have you been doing?
I won Tetris 99 twice.
Twice. That's fairly impressive.
There is a method to the madness. After last week's initial rocky beginnings, I am happy to report that I believe I have learned the tricks. I have learned the mechanics. It's a little easier to piece together in my head what's going on when that huge stack comes in that makes you lose. But at least now I know that how to be on the other side of that stack, and just how fast and difficult and brutal this thing is for what it takes to actually win one of these matches.
It's weird because after hearing you complain about it last week, I of course was like, well, I gotta check this out now. You know, I have a Nintendo subscription. I gotta check. It doesn't sound like the kind of game I would enjoy, but by golly gosh darn, if I didn't download it 2 nights ago and have pretty much not stopped playing it.
It is very addicting. I'll give you that. It is
very addicting, and it's addicting for stupid reasons, because I don't know how you feel, George, but I feel like until it gets to like the top 20, I just feel like I'm playing Tetris by myself.
Oh, that's cute. That's adorable. You sweet summer child.
And then when it gets to the top 20, it's like a John Wick movie where all of a sudden just shit starts happening that gets insane. But but that delightful hit that you know is coming is always really exciting to deal with. It's like the final boss at the end of a Tetris stage, if you will.
Okay, well, oh boy.
I have not won yet.
I don't know how to explain this, but playing it like you're playing Tetris by yourself is not how you win this one. You have to get weird with this one.
No, I know. I have watched countless videos, but even when I'm trying to hurt other players, I still feel like I'm basically playing by myself. I still feel like I'm playing the game by myself because I'm dealing with other players' junk and then just flinging whenever I get a Tetris or at least 3 lines. That's when I start trying to think about it a bit more.
Right, and it's not that long until that comes in. Like, I'm surprised you're saying that it's a nice, calm, relaxing, fun time playing the top 20. When I play, it feels like I break through the top 20 in like 60 seconds.
Because the game is so fast and you can rematch so quickly that it's just not stressful. If I go out at 99, that's fine. If I go out at 34, that's fine. If I go out in the top 20, I'm happy as well because I made it to the top 20. That happens more frequently. Like tonight I was playing it before we started recording. I at least got 12 out of 30 top 20 finishes. And I got to 8th and 6th, which are two of my highest. So
Oh yeah, 6. That means you got a dose of it. Did you hear the Flight of the Bumblebee?
yeah, that yeah.
If you hear that, you just have to block everything else out of your mind. Pay attention to nothing. Like stick your caffeine IV into your arm and just cross your fingers and hope that the other players aren't as good as you, because that song means that death is imminent. Death is coming.
Yeah.
That's the last song you hear before you die.
The only thing that's demoralizing about that part is when you get to like 6th and 8th and you hang around and you watch how long it takes for the other players to get eliminated.
Yeah.
And it's like I go out at 6th, but it's like another 2 minutes before a winner is declared, because those other guys are able to just deal with that speed and so much that winning a game must just be like, unless you are like a seriously good player, is like half being paired up with 99 other pretty average players, and also just being pretty good at Tetris yourself, which I am not.
And speaking as someone who is good enough to win a random ass matchup of this thing at least twice, like this is not this is not how I play Tetris. This is not how I want to play Tetris. When I think of Tetris, I think of course, I think of the Nintendo DS, but I think of my high school graduation ceremony where I kept the same game going for like 3 hours throughout the day. And this isn't that. This isn't a meditative activity to do in your pocket. This is a competitive white-knuckle race that lasts seconds, not minutes, let alone hours. And I feel satisfied now that I've won my 2. The thing is, now I feel like I'm hooked. I just still don't feel like I'm like actually enjoying. I'm smacking the microphone and everything because of just how mad it makes me sometimes when you get that dump of junk all of a sudden out of nowhere. And I'm surprised. Earlier, just before the podcast, you said we'd get into it. You said you think this is a tight, well-designed game.
Yeah.
When I think this commits the grand sin of whether or not you have fun being dependent on how good the other players are rather than yourself.
But you're talking about every multiplayer game ever made.
No, I feel like that's what a lot of strides have been made recently with games like Overwatch and Apex Legends, like being able to keep lower skilled players with
I played
active
Apex
roles.
Legends a week after it came out for 2 hours and lasted maybe 7 minutes in my longest match, because the game had already progressed way too far past me being able to just get into a match and learn the game. Whereas that's just kind of like online games, especially when it comes to battle royales, which is so weird to be talking about a Tetris game that is a fucking battle royale game at the same time. This game starts off with everybody dealing with a pace at which the most normal average of players can deal with, and it is like a good minute before players can throw a lot of junk at you for you to lose your shit and for it to become unmanageable, basically. So it always gives players, for every single match, it gives them like 30 seconds to a minute to be able to become accustomed to what's going on, and it helps players to ease in. And there's a lot on top of that allows you to sort of, once you figure things out, you're able to sort of deflect other players' attentions on you, and so you can just sort of keep to yourself, but you can also go aggressive. There are just so many little factors about the design choices they've made with this game that are like, fuck, that is smart. Like, building a Tetris Battle Royale game, like, there's only so much you could have possibly done, but this is really fucking smart.
I think they could use a harder limit on how many players are able to target a single player at once, or adjusted the speed for the junk additions during the final 10. I mean, I appreciate that they're experimenting and everything. It's been a quirky time figuring this thing out.
Yeah, and everybody had to do it because the game doesn't come with a tutorial or anything.
Yeah, really could have used a tutorial.
I didn't even know what KOs were for ages. I was like, is that like I couldn't really tell if it was like people who are about to fucking be KO'd or if it was like something else. It was until I asked someone specifically what it was, I didn't realize. Also didn't realize you can use the left stick to actually just aim for people you see anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't make that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things.
No, it doesn't. You shouldn't be looking at the other games going on unless they're red and flashing, and then you're like, oh shit, go for the KO or go for the badge. When someone's got a shit ton of badges, go for the badge.
I mean, is that something they could have accounted for? Like I can't look outside of the screen too. Like I can't really get a good gauge on what the other players' screens look like.
No, you absolutely can't, and that's the thing. And there's always going to be like a delay on what actually is visually happening on their screen, and also the information that's being sent to you. So having that right stick short like menu where you balance between just allowing the game to automatically pick another player for you, going for people who are obviously more skilled and have the badges, or going for just fighting back against players who are attacking you. It's fucking smart. It's really smart.
Like I can't see what's going on. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what to expect and what else is going on out there because my eye is glued on the blocks.
Yes, and it depends on which speed you're going at, but that's just what's going to happen in Tetris anyway. You've got to manage between the two. But there is something where, like with attackers, for example, like if you have like people attacking you, you can quickly like follow the lines. Like the lines are there for you to see, so you can look at the other players and see how much like is going to expect to you. But then on top of that, it just shows you like the level of blocks that's right next to yours that you're going to be lifted up by, so you can sort of pre-plan for that. There's a lot of like little bits that in a game like this where you couldn't really do anything else. Like there's no real way to be able to give the player information without cycling through 99 full versions of the game screen. So they try and balance that out by doing smart design decisions that do give you visual feedback. But it is difficult because it's Tetris and it moves really fast. But it's a free game. It's a free game that just works out the box and is like really fun and addictive and stuff. It's great.
I mean, you gotta pay your Nintendo subscription dues.
Yeah, but it's like, even if you think about it that way, if you like got if you didn't have the Nintendo subscription, you could play a free Tetris game for 7 days, and then if you liked it, you could just pay $3 and have it for a whole month.
Well, then it's not really free.
No, but like we're talking like it is free if you think of PS Plus games as free.
No, I don't think of those free either because that's just letting the marketers win.
Yeah. We're arguing George semantics again.
So another piece of George semantics I want to bring up. There is a FGC promoter and a player named James Chen who's supposedly like doing
commentator.
One of the best at Tetris 99 right now. They say via tweet, they're sitting around a 37% win rate in Japan. And James Chen says, I still think I should be doing better. Too many unnecessary execution errors. Sure, fair enough, that's on him. Those some matches you get dogpiled on and there's nothing you can do. LOL. And that's on the game design.
But what's the problem with it? Like, yeah, it's on the game design, but what's the problem? It's just luck of the draw. It can happen to any player. It's not necessarily negative to you because it's negative to all players.
So then everyone has a bad time?
Well, eventually everybody, by the amount of games you play spread against the amount of players, everybody will have some bad times. It's not going to happen to you every single game, but the chance of it happening is the same as it can happen to every other player in the game. It's not like, oh shit, I have a bad internet connection, therefore the game just locks onto me, where there would be like some excuse or reason as to why that happens more frequently to you than other players. But considering that chance can happen to any player playing the game at any time, it's not a negative effect. It's just luck of the draw, which happens in it happens in games. RNG. It's basically just RNG. It isn't really RNG about the players locking onto you, because every time a player clears a line, then if they're on random, it moves the player cursor over to a different player. It's just how things will line up sometimes depending on what's happening. Unless you do implement a rule that says, like, no player can be targeted by more than 4 players at one time. But it's part of the game rules. Sometimes you have to deal with a lot, and sometimes you don't. You can spend a whole game and get into the top 20s with basically no junk thrown at you at all. It's just luck of the draw, and it happens.
I don't... Okay.
But how would
Luck of the draw is something that, like, good game design tries to mitigate. Like, in Overwatch, you can play as a character with a giant-ass crosshair who just, like, sprays bullets at the enemy's direction, and so players without a lot of, like, precision and timing and twitch skills can still contribute.
How would you fix it, though? How would you fix it unless you change the game completely so players can't be targeted by more than 4 players, which means players with badges who are dealing more damage, because when you get a badge, you deal 25% more damage, you deal 50% more damage, and then you deal 75% more damage. Those players, if they're especially good players, will only ever have a maximum of 4 players targeting them, which is quite a manageable amount of junk to deal with if you're a good player. If you're a good player. So it's always just advantageous to good players, when the whole point of the badges option is to balance it out and have more players targeting those with badges to get them knocked out, so then it evens the playing field.
First thing I'd change is just straight up slow the speed with which junk lines come in once the game's in the top 10 or above. Because
you can't do that, though.
Why not? Slow the speed down of, like, the whole entire match?
Because that's not how Tetris works. It doesn't work like that in Puyo Puyo Tetris either. The game speed carries on and junk just comes at you. That's just how the game has always been.
Well, this is like the Resident Evil discussion, isn't it? We're gonna go on this for like another 10 minutes, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't. Hey, Matt, how's
yeah, how you doing? How's everything?
How's your state of mind?
Are you interested in playing Tetris?
No, absolutely not.
Don't.
I said before I don't like Tetris. You remember Tetris Attack? I was just like, no.
It's not worth it. Okay, actually...
Is this one just Tetris, though, Matt? Or is the Battle Royale implementation piquing your interest a little more than Tetris Effect?
I will watch it, but I just know that I'm not good at Tetris, I guess.
Yeah, there was some pretty fucking clutch videos going around on Twitter of, like, dudes who are, like, fighting for the top spot and the amount of insane shit they have to do. Ugh, there are some pretty cool videos of it.
One thing I do want to bring up is that this reminds me of a very awkward conversation I had once during the first few years of college, where I was standing around somewhere bored, probably playing Tetris either on my phone or the DS, and someone asked me, hey, did you ever have any siblings growing up? I believe it was when I tried to play a competitive game of Tetris. And I said, no, why? And they said, I can tell because you don't know how to play multiplayer Tetris.
Wow.
It was like the most specific and presumptuous judgment I've ever heard in my life. Apparently people who have siblings know how to play competitive
Pass
Tetris.
around the Game Boy?
Yeah, they link up their Game Boys with their siblings and play the multiplayer modes, because dealing with junk is something I'm not used to. I'll admit that last week I was learning how to deal with junk for the first serious times, but even I feel like at least winning 2 matches should give me some credibility here for my theories.
I mean, you're obviously pretty decent at Tetris if you've been playing it and you've got a couple of wins under your belt, but I mean, you've just played Tetris, though.
But those players who had siblings, though, they're steamrolling on me.
Well, I don't know. I have 3 siblings, and I think the only thing I ever played competitively as a puzzle was Pokemon Puzzle League, which was a paneled upon Tetris Attack knockoff Pokemon game.
So Tetris Attack on the Super Nintendo, right? It's not actually Tetris. It's like a block flipping puzzle that's different.
Paneled upon, as it's called.
Yeah. I wonder why they called it Tetris Attack in the West.
I don't know.
If you don't have blocks of 4.
And it had Yoshi on the front cover.
Ooh, yeah. Yoshi, the puzzle game paragon of Nintendo for a short while. Yoshi didn't have the classic Yoshi side-scroller until quite a few years after the introduction of the character. Anyways, what else do we want to talk about? I played some other games this week other than Tetris 99.
I've only played Tetris, so I'm kind of out of this. What's Matt been doing? Is Matt
what is this?
now Matt's
sex?
back in in the hustle game.
Let's wake Matt up and get him talking about this ape sex he threw on the outline.
Yeah, ape sex.
Wait, ape sex? Whoa.
Yeah. Matt just typed it in the outline.
The reign of Matt going through like PS4 games to catch up with everything is coming to an end.
Ape sex. Wait. Ape sex. Can we guess what game that might be before you?
Okay.
If you can't guess it, then you need to be off this podcast. I'm just letting you know right now. You get one guess. George?
Deus Ex?
Oh my God. Liam, please bring it home.
Oh shit. Did it come out last year? Can I have a clue? Is that right? Okay.
Oh, you get clues? I was just thinking of things that rhyme.
Ape sex. Think about it.
God.
Ape sex.
Apes. Abe sex. Abe Simpson sex.
Abe's Odyssey?
Okay.
Abe's...
Well, wait. I want to get this right.
It came out recently.
Like 2019 recently.
It came out recently, yeah.
That's a bit too early for you.
I've been playing it. You know that I've been playing it.
Oh,
Oh my God, that should have gave it away.
King?
Do I just give it to you guys because you guys are struggling here? And
wait,
both of you
Abe sex. Assassin's Creed? I don't fucking know.
focus on how everything is spelt more than it's a play on
Ape. APE space.
Oh, Apex Legends.
Apex.
Ape sex.
Ape sex.
Everybody's gonna be fucking screaming at us. Right?
I do not know. Well, like, what do I don't have time to play. What's that ape game? The where you catch apes.
Ape Escape.
Ape Escape.
Ape Escape. I don't got time for that.
What about Monkey Ball? Have you got time for Monkey Ball?
Oh, Monkey Ball. Oh my God. I remember Monkey Ball very vaguely.
Speedruns of that game are fucking great.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell us about Apex Legends. Tell us about the other battle royale.
Is it holding up?
Wait, haven't I talked about Apex before?
Oh,
we talked about Apex already.
We went into it last week with Jim Sterling.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah, I'm still playing it, basically. I like it.
I think my losing streak cut into my ego too much last week, and I haven't.
I want another game. It's fun.
I haven't loaded it up since. So how's your win rate looking?
Only two, but I haven't been playing the last few days. I haven't had time, but all last week I was playing like
so
nonstop.
you broke your second place streak.
Yeah.
How many wins do you have? Do you have more wins on Apex Legends
Then Tetris, absolutely.
than George has on Tetris?
No, we had the same. Two.
Ugh, damn.
Two. I've reached second multiple times though. Like multiple times.
So what about this dynamic Jim Sterling and I were talking about where we tend to do better with randos than with friendos? Were you playing with friendos?
Yeah, I rather play with at least one friendo.
Okay.
I played with Patrick a bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Japan Patrick.
Do you communicate, or do you just use the in-game communication tools?
A little mix of both. Enemy here,
okay.
and I'll do the little click thing.
What button have you put the enemy here ping on? Because I think
Middle mouse.
I could definitely do with changing that binding. They want you to double click the middle mouse by default, but I'm afraid of accidentally slipping my finger and switching weapons.
No, mine. I don't have that issue for some reason.
So what's some critical learning developments? What have you figured out that's gotten you those 2 wins more reliably than on week 1?
Probably lowering my sensitivity.
Really?
Like because I play on controller because I'm getting older.
Actually, yeah.
You know, I don't play on keyboard and mouse all the time. I like to sit back, get the controller out. You know, I play Titanfall 2, the story mode with a controller because it just felt better. And I'm used to it. That's how I grew up with playing Xbox Live and Gears of War and Halo 3.
That game is so good.
Oh my god, I miss it so much.
It's so
I
good.
miss it so much. I miss
How
that
do you feel
era.
about the movement? Do you feel like the movement is pretty similar? Obviously, you can do slides and stuff in Apex Legends. You move pretty quickly, but
No, it's not. I guess it's not similar in the way of like the cover system or anything like that, but it is similar in the way it makes you feel. Like it feels like you're moving. I feel like there's a pace to the game instead of it being like clunky. Like a lot of games that I play, I feel like a lot of games I play. Like people rave about it or whatever, and I was like, I don't know, I don't know. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like there's a flow. Apex feels like there's a flow, like the sliding, the downhills and sliding in between enemies to kind of throw them off, like everything. It just feels good from the beginning. You don't have to be a pro in order for it to not feel clunky, and slow. Even though some of the characters are really too slow for me, I can't do that. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't play them.
Who's your main?
It's because they're really too slow.
Who's your favorite Apex legend?
I want to unlock the other two characters for sure, but I have been playing Wraith a lot, and Wraith and the Soldier Woman, the Black Soldier Woman. Bangalore.
Yeah, I've tried Caustic. He's slower. I don't know if you'd like him, but the gas is fun.
Yeah, I think I might try
Mirage.
Yeah, Mirage. Yeah, so yeah, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I'm glad it's giving some Respawn some money, because Respawn makes some good games, and it sucked that Titanfall didn't get a lot of money. I bet they're very happy right now.
So, speaking of Battle Royale games having smart dynamics to them that are supposed to boil up the funds of upper level skill play for lower level players, one of the things that I do want to argue is like a big dynamic to Overwatch and Apex in terms of rejiggering their difficulty to be better for lower skilled players is that just drawing the bad guys' fire is a good contribution to your team that exposes enemies for people who can aim and shoot to shoot them. Like if you hand Overwatch to people who don't know how to play games very well, within a couple hours they'll still like develop ideas for how the strategy works that don't necessarily require super fast, twitchy, childlike reflexes.
Yeah, you see, well, like I respect Apex Legends a lot, and from what I played of it, it was fun to move about and like how fast you move and how quick the game goes, and there are ways to balance out like dying and still being able to be in the game, but like 7 minutes was like the longest I lasted in 2 hours of playing it to begin with, and it just like is like I kind of don't want to do this,
which is fine.
Just run around looking for weapons and die. I die really easily, and then
it's not for everyone. But so long as you're like picking stuff up off the ground so other players can't get it, you're still contributing.
Well, you're moving really like fucking. This is my problem with like I don't know how anybody could ever play PUBG again.
Yeah.
It's the same problem where you could just die so quickly.
Yeah. It's just rendered obsolete, I think.
It's just so boring to move around. Whereas Apex Legends, you move around incredibly fluidly, and the map is fucking designed so well. But still, it suffers from the problems that I don't like about those games and why I don't really play them, because I would rather play... And this probably goes from the fact that I was playing Battlefield 1942, or 43, I forgot what it's called, LANing at the office recently, and just playing pure deathmatch, and being able to just die and jump back into a game and kill some people and die and jump in again was still fun. Still a lot more fun.
I feel like I've been neglecting Apex for a week and I want to go back. Just like, after I get this RE2 video out, I'm going to binge it for a good couple days.
It's you die, you get back in a match. You die, you get back in a match. Like, and I always head for the
you die, and then maybe you get revived. Maybe someone brings you back, and then you have to like all disconnect from the server if you're in a team, or you have to wait for your team to die, and then you go through all the stuff that you're leveling up and all that kind of stuff, and then you have to like on the menu press ready again and then jump into a game again.
Wait,
What
what?
what is this 7 minutes you were mentioning too? Like, are you diving down into the hot zone every match, like right off the bat?
I only played for 2 hours. Then it was like I was just trying to learn the game. It was like, just
I think-
anywhere I went.
Oh,
I
you
would just
click
get
through
killed.
those stuff? Like, I skip all of that. Like, I don't read any of that. I just press leave match and go to the next game.
I think we need to get
It still prompts a lot of stuff though.
Matt.
It's not like a deathmatch where you die and then you just of course just respawn in the game and play
I
again.
never look at it. I just press, like, leave match, and I literally go back to the main menu. Or maybe I'm just used to just pressing escape. I don't know.
You're not going to be able to buy anything with that currency until like you hit at least the 8-hour mark. But yeah, I think what we need to do is get Liam in with our duo someday
Yeah.
and show him the way.
I will get you both killed.
I mean,
You just gotta fix your aim a bit. That's all.
if losing is
My
fun
aim,
though, then
my
that-
aim is not the problem. I think it's my awareness more than anything.
well, if you run around for 7 minutes and get shot, then me and Matt will shoot whoever's shooting you, and that means you'll be contributing.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys can like get my what is it, dog tag or whatever, and
Banner.
fucking beam it up into space and
Yeah.
bring me back.
Yeah. I love that system, by the way. If
Yeah,
you die
that's
in
a good
Apex
system.
Legend, you can just click around on your phone and cross your fingers. It's so fun to watch, to spectate your teammate bringing your banner back to the spawn point too. It's just like such a breath-holding moment. You're crossing your fingers like, oh, I hope this meter fills up. It feels so tense.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Like that moment where I just grabbed both of you guys and went back. That was like, those are good moments.
Yeah.
It's always creating these little side moments within just other than just getting shot. Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
I like those moments. Do you guys want to hear about the Shadow of the Colossus remake?
Yes.
Bluepoint got a publishing deal with SCE Japan Studio to make dreams come to life, because I guess that's what SCE Japan Studio does after getting From Software to make a potentially unprofitable dream of a Souls game and give it a vampire theme. They got Bluepoint to do a remake of the cult classic, one of like the original big budget art games, one of I think a big installment that made a case for games being art in the first place, that came right at the end of that PS2 development era where Japanese developers actually started keeping their source code around for projects to get like the best remake studio in gaming to remake one of the best PlayStation games
It's
in
a
gaming.
remake from the ground up, or is a port?
No, it's remastering. I guess I could
Remastering.
call it a remaster more than a remake, because it's not
Okay.
like they didn't visually redesign the game so much as like
Because
added in a lot more detailed assets that fit the original style.
okay, RE2 was a remake.
Man, I don't know anymore these days.
It's hard to define it, but
Shadow of the
this,
Colossus looks like a remaster.
Yeah.
no, it's not a remaster because they released a HD collection.
Oh, they did. That's right.
A couple of years ago, and that was a remaster. This
Okay.
is from a ground up. All of it is, of course, they've taken the heat maps of the previous levels and tried to one-to-one fit it, but it is like a completely rebuilt
Really?
from the ground up game.
So is there source code?
I'm not sure of that specific.
Okay, I think this actually brings up a great debate, and that is, right now I feel comfortable calling the RE2 remake a reimagining, but I'll call it a remake to keep conversations going smooth anyway. RE1 remake, like, that's a straight up shot-for-shot remake of the original with better graphics and better mechanics. The Shadow of the Colossus thing, like, that, since it looks and plays almost one-to-one to the original, like, just better fidelity. Like, I would call it a remake, but not to the extent of either RE1 or RE2 remake. But I don't know if I'd feel comfortable calling it a remaster either, because it's so much more than just blowing the game up in high def. Like, it looks good now. It looks so gorgeous now. Like, if you blow up Shadow of the Colossus on an emulator into HD, it's gonna look gorgeous regardless. This is just, like, bumping it up to 11 almost. I can't believe Like just how well directed the shot composition looks. Like the way this game's camera system makes the rule of thirds apply to your gameplay. The way it pans upwards to the sky to keep your character down low with a big zoom out. With the new assets that Bluepoint developed, it's postcard visuals the whole way through.
Is this the first time you've played Shadow of the Colossus?
What? No. Well, I played the PS2 a couple times.
Oh, okay.
And I played on emulator a couple times. I never did the PS3 remasters, though.
Good times playing that game.
Yeah, I also think this, on top of, like, arguing about what we want to call various degrees of video game remakes, this is also a good reminder that it makes a lot more sense to do video game remakes than movie and TV remakes. Like, all the past few years, you hear so many controversies and negative reviews over stuff like Netflix Death Note. They just put out these trailers for the Will Smith Aladdin live-action remake where he looks weird in the costume. They just announced a remake for Your Name, which is going to be really weird. Apparently, it takes place in the United States, and the two characters are a Native American person and a city person, and that's how they're going to incorporate all the trippy mysticism that happens in that movie. But the past 2 years of video games I've been playing have involved a lot of remakes that are fantastic. Like, Fire Emblem Echoes was a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden. It was fantastic. RE2 Make just came out. It's fantastic. I spent the weekend playing the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and it's fantastic. There are so many good video game remakes coming out. I remember last gen, everyone was a little gripey. I wasn't gripey, but there were a lot of fans who were gripey over how much remasters were being released. Nowadays, it seems like a lot of hard-ass work from the ground-up remakes are being released to a lot of praise and not a lot of controversy, and that's really cool to see.
I mean, I'm down for cool remakes like Resident Evil 2. I just don't want it to be every game.
Oh, of course. I think this is a great way to get a new team going.
The time scale has been a bit wibbly-wobbly recently. Like, you'll have games like that came out in the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 generation that will have remasters for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's like,
I think it's too soon to remake Shadow of the Colossus.
maybe not Shadow of the Colossus. Like, 2 generations and it's kind of a masterpiece itself. Like, it's fine. But there are some, like, some PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 titles that are, like, remastered or remade. Well, not remade, just remastered.
Oh, I know an example. Bulletstorm.
Yeah.
No one asked for a remastering of Bulletstorm.
It's a good game, though. But
we still got it.
I know what you mean.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to let that sully the pile. Like movies and TVs are such a much more subjective art form. With games, we're still in a phase of technological development where every couple years makes, I hate the word, but like objectively more playable games than the previous generation, and it just makes so much more sense to do a remake of a video game than a lot of other mediums. And like I briefly mentioned I think this is a good way to get a new team going. Like, a lot of times the remakes don't even have the original staff on them and still end up great regardless.
Well, fresh eyes and fresh perspective is very good when you'll usually have somebody on a team who has some experience with the series or has a passion for wanting to bring that project to life. But fresh perspective on all the things is always a good thing, really. Unless you're a bit too drastic with it.
I remember when Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes came out. There were some reviews that were lamenting how it might be too soon for a Metal Gear Solid remake, and how the level design with MGS2's camera controls and shooting controls didn't make for a very challenging, interesting set of rooms like in the original. But now it seems like the ethos is not changing, still keeping the crappy controls and cameras of these original games, as is in the case of Shadow of the Colossus, but bumping up the graphics to more faithfully replicate the fantasy being evoked, and tends to make people happy.
It's still, the controls are still kind of trash.
I don't know if I'd call them trash. Like, they're evocative of
They're trash.
of stumble.
Not that it's not intentional trash.
Oh my god.
It's intentional. It's because you're climbing a damn Colossus. Like, obviously, like, it's not supposed to be easy. You're not supposed to be like, okay, I'm gonna hold this button. Yeah, it's supposed to be annoying.
Your character is a bumbly, clumsy, disoriented fuck who is a small, puny mortal getting tossed around with this conflict between gods and colossi over a beautiful, like kind of original sin myth sort of setup. Oh, it's a great game. There's purposes behind the camera and control being part of the fight.
I love it. Yeah, for sure. Like, with no doubt. So it just looks good, is what you're saying. That's it.
It feels good. It sounds good. It's good.
So nothing has changed.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want to say it's better or worse. Like, the original game has a distinct look to it. It's a lot more washed out and heavy on the bloom, partially because of the trends and limitations of the time.
Bloom.
And the new game has a wider, less cropped aspect ratio. There's it's not bright and vibrant and colorful, but there's a lot of flowers and a bluer sky that make it look like it should be. Like, it's still, they both.
Does the world still look empty?
Yeah. I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah.
You're in like a mythical realm where all points of the world extend in the four directions, and it's like inhabited only by gods, animals, and people, and it's the mythological primordial.
You're trying to explain the story here? Because that story is trash too.
What's trash about? I don't know. I think you're just trying to get me to wah.
Maybe. I want to play it again. I would love to play it again.
I game flight it, so it's not a big monetary commitment. I can't wait to get all the way through it, feel the feels, get the tingles.
I was thinking, speaking of Gamefly, I wanted to gauge your guys' opinion about something. I was thinking, with my PlayStation 4 basically dying and on its way out, I'm reluctant to buy another PlayStation. Well, I'm reluctant to buy anything because I'm poor, but I've kind of been thinking, like, the Xbox Game Pass seems pretty enticing now.
Ooh.
Because I don't have Gamefly, but there's, like, lots of games I want to play that I've not had time to play. Speaking of trash, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Crackdown 3.
Yeah.
Oh, you...
The only good part of Crackdown is Terry Crews.
Yeah, I've heard it's got its merits. You just gotta adjust your expectations.
Man, I remember when that first came out on the Xbox 360. Man, people were going nuts, man.
Yeah. You could have the Xbox 360 play your tunes in the background, have like Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory running around, Crackdown,
Good Charlotte,
Pavaroach,
Fallout Boy.
One thing,
man, those
I
are the
don't know
days.
why. It doesn't even matter how hard to try. Keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. The design is rhyme to explain in due time. I know.
Time is a valuable thing. Watch the time go. Let the pendulum swings.
Watch it count down to the end of the day. The life takes life away.
So unreal.
It
Don't
didn't
look down below. Watch the time flow
right out the window.
All I'm trying to say is that those lyrics are a song about Crackdown, because Crackdown's always been a like lightweight, shallow time waster, and it seems like everyone forgot.
What did you say about In the End by Linkin Park?
For real, man.
People forgot?
Stop.
Are you kidding?
No.
Chester just died, George.
No, okay. Reviews for Crackdown 3 just came out. And they're mixed, and it seems to depend on whether or not the reviewer is like expecting a real serious, polished, emotional
we should
experience.
Mention our guest of last week categorically despised it.
Really? Okay, so I guess this folds into what sort of expectations might get you to like Crackdown and might not. Basically, expect a shallow time waster like Crackdown's always been.
Yeah. Yeah, with like the announcer guy being evil constantly.
It was just like you're awake at night and have nothing to do kind of game. It was like comforting to have in the background, when I was working
Not a
my way out of high
$60
school.
purchase. Not a $60 purchase.
I wonder if I'd feel justified spending $60 on a lot of games these days.
Well, that's why I think about Xbox Game Pass, and I think about how is that good value for money? It's like what, it's $8 a month, and like games like Crackdown 3 get added to it immediately.
Let's see, they just added Crackdown 3, The Blob, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Like there's like a good 200 games on there now. That's gotta be like pretty good.
Wait,
right?
you get all of them? You don't have to.
Or does it just start your collection like with PS Now when you sign up?
Yeah, that's
No,
what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't get all of them.
Yeah, you do. Don't you? You have access to download any of them at any time.
No, it's when you start.
Enjoy unlimited access to over 100 great
Whoa.
Xbone
Yeah.
and 360
Yeah,
titles.
no,
Whoa!
it's all
What?
of them. It's like
Okay.
Netflix. It's like their version of Netflix for games.
So-
And you can download them and play them
Well,
locally offline for
Let
a
me
month
see
before
if
you have
I'm,
to validate your thing.
get this Xbox.
Able to get a
forget this
library.
PS4. What the?
Well, that's what I'm thinking about. Like, I'm thinking well, I don't. In Japan, nobody fucking plays an Xbox.
No
I
one
think they
does.
sell like
Okay.
7 a week across
7
the whole
a
week.
week. Yeah.
I've seen the Xbox bargain bin. It's not... It doesn't paint a very positive picture.
No,
Anyways,
it really does not.
I just pasted into you guys a link in the Skype room to the list so we can see what they got here. Xbox Game Pass, you get Brothers: A Tale of Two
4 not
Sons,
found.
Banjo-Kazooie,
Cities Skylines, okay.
Bayonetta.
Dead Rising 3,
Oh,
Fallout
doesn't,
4, Gears of War 4, Gears of War Remastered.
Halo.
A lot of Halo. Halo Wars, Halo 5, whatever Halo Spartan Assault
ooh,
is.
Halo Wars is really good.
Layers of Fear, a Matt Visual favorite.
Wait, what?
Limbo and Lumo.
Oh, they got Homefront, The Revolution. That's a good game.
Yeah, there's a lot here, but
Mass Effect 1.
a
Overcooked.
lot of old stuff. Perfect Dark Zero's on here for some reason. Sonic and Knuckles.
For some reason, there's Metal.
Oh my god.
For some reason, there's Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, but not Metal Gear Solid 5.
Saints Row.
So yeah, there's like a
Shadow Complex.
okay collection of let's say like upper 7s and upper 8s from the past 5 years, and then like 9s from 10 years ago.
For like $7 a month, though, it does seem pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Sunset Overdrive is a good time.
Yeah, I can't argue with for $7
Not
a
enough
month.
people played that game.
Not enough,
DMC
man.
Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. Which apparently, I don't know, people still argue over that.
I don't know why people argue over that. It's a good game. IMO.
So, okay, if you can find yourself a cheap enough Xbox, maybe a few months of going through this library wouldn't be that bad of a deal.
Well, yeah, if you're getting pretty new games added to it, and then, you just buy other games normally, sounds like a pretty good deal. I don't know.
King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match!
Send us an email if you have this and it's worth the money.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yo, this is like if you haven't played some of these games, this is hours and hours of fun here. Like they have all of the Gears of War franchise here.
Listen to Mr. Marketing putting in his skills.
Oh my god.
I mean, I will happily
Stop
say
it.
that the Xbone doesn't have a lot of exclusives that appeal to me, but my god, it has a back catalog that should appeal to a lot of people.
My fear is that my PlayStation 4 will die before Sekiro comes out at the end of next month.
So you want something to play it on? Is it coming out on Xbone?
I know, it's a PlayStation exclusive, isn't it?
Let me look.
It's like Bloodborne. Imagine not having had played Bloodborne.
No, they have Xbone and Windows versions announced.
Oh.
According to Wikipedia. Let's see.
Oh, well, I want to doubt Wikipedia.
The game is scheduled to be released for Windows, PS4, and Xbone on March 22nd.
Is it just that PlayStation have, like, the exclusive, like... I guess PlayStation must have the exclusive marketing, because they get all the exclusive boss.
I guess. I want to briefly reignite one of the weirder questions I threw at Jim Sterling last week, and that is how many decades video games have left. I don't know if they're going to change into something fundamentally different if the idea of consoles go away, because nowadays there's so many multi-platforms that like Sekiro that like market themselves as first-party exclusives, but it's not really in anyone's interest in the game industry anymore to be making exclusives. Like, they're sold at a loss. And
yeah, but it's good for the studios that make them because it's guaranteed cash.
True. If they can get that deal.
It's always it's always on the publisher or the console publishers, whether it's going to be like a hit for them or not. But that's the risk you got to take. That's why Microsoft are snapping up so many studios. Now they've made, what is it, the Xbox Game Studios family or whatever it is, including the Ninja Theory and all those other studios that are a part of that.
I feel like eventually the risk is no longer going to be worth it, and the console manufacturers will decide to manufacture something else, and the world will get increasingly weirder.
I don't think games are going anywhere. Maybe the way you think about them.
Yeah,
like, if you browse Twitter, there's like 5,000 games that come out a day.
I feel like I am foreseeing... I feel like a lot of us are foreseeing the end of, like, TV as a medium, but I feel like I'm specifically expecting the end of consoles.
Yeah, and yeah.
Definitely within our lifetime, but I don't know, man. That, like, the 10 to 15 year window doesn't even look bright for them. There's just technological convergence going on that has outmoded them in several ways.
Is that because you're thinking about it from a progressive standpoint where, if games can't be progressive and pushing the boundaries of, like, power and stuff, which has always been the only reason new consoles have ever been made. Yeah, but why? Why is that a problem?
Because smaller and more ubiquitous devices like cell phones and mobiles are both taking the place of big, expensive hardware, and markets are showing that mainstream normies would rather buy...
Yeah, but that's not going to affect games being made, though.
They'll get made for the weird new devices and weird new ways.
But that's fine. Like, as long as you can plug those things on your TV with a controller, I mean, I don't particularly see any difference. I don't have a vested interest in PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch being the only consoles out there.
Yeah, I don't think consoles are going away anytime soon. I still feel like there's a place for them.
For sure, this year we're going to see the PlayStation 5. So
not everyone has money to buy a PC. And not everyone has the newest phones either.
But you know that, like, there's lots of publishers in the video game industry who want and foresee mainstream video game playing devices utilizing streaming technology that cuts down on the cost of hardware. I don't know. It's going to get weird. I don't doubt that the console manufacturers will go anywhere. I just think that consoles themselves are going to merge or standardize or get incorporated into some other medium.
I don't disagree with you, but the Switch is like current living proof that there is...
Yeah.
That they're not going anywhere.
Well, I think...
that's because the Switch is a good example of an evolution of what we think of traditional consoles.
Exactly. It's not a big, expensive black box you put under the TV.
No,
it is kind of sort of a mobile tablet. Is it that much different
to you? Is it that much different? Is it that much different from... do you think of the Switch as a different device to the Xbox and the PlayStation 4?
I mean, as like hardcore invested gamers, I think we should be able to notice the differences in the market strategy Nintendo is tackling this generation.
But Nintendo's always...
Especially compared to the last one with the Wii U. The Switch is...
Nintendo's always been different to the two other ones. They've always been like that. It's nothing new. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Like, they've always been massively different. They've not ever aimed for the same market, really. I feel like the Switch is the first time Nintendo have ever really aimed for the same market that the other two have. There's a lot of games that get ported to Switch that also come out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Whereas, like, during the 360 and PS3 generation, the Wii U didn't stack up, so it was on its own. And then when the Wii came out, it was like PlayStation and the PlayStation Move trying to catch up, and it was the Xbox Kinect. Nintendo have never, ever gone for the same market these two have. They've always kind of set in their own weird place. So I don't see their marketing strategy being any different.
I see their marketing strategy as evoking an era where portable gaming might become more popular than dedicated set-top box gaming, and that's kind of what I'm hinting at. Is that, like, the hardware is going to be different.
But you see in every Nintendo advert, they're still, like, they're making sure you put it in the dock and it pops up on the TV and you can play it at home. Like, there is still that big push.
So I don't
It's just
know what...
it's an evolution of. That's why I don't think when you say a game's going to go away or a console's going to die, I don't think they're going to die. You're just going to see more evolutions like the Nintendo Switch, which is the first example.
I think eventually we're going to see a generation of kids who don't think games are cool.
Whoa.
I mean,
I doubt.
Oh yeah, far in the future, decades.
All three of us grew up in that era.
And eventually we're gonna
in
seem
the 90s,
like crusty.
It wasn't cool.
I meet people all the time where like, oh, I play 2K like all the time. Like there's just some people who are just not into game.
It wasn't until really, I think, like, if I'm 100% honest, I don't count Pokemon's Fever as being like cool, but when Call of Duty and Madden and I don't want to say those cliche games, but that was when it drew in an audience that was
cliche.
Including people who were
the plebs,
not traditional gamers.
Yeah.
Gaming has only really been like not the cool thing, but just like the most popular form of entertainment within the last like 10 years, I think.
And like streaming, I would love for it to become a streaming service that works, but everyone doesn't have fiber optic, and everyone will need fiber optic.
And as the decades roll on, considering how much the world has changed within our lifetimes, I don't know if I reliably want to expect a lot of the institutions we are accustomed to now lasting all the way into the ends of our lifetimes. And that includes video. For starters, that definitely includes like TV media. I mean, that stuff is really going out on a generational basis. People who are like 40 and under statistically do not subscribe to cable TV in the same numbers as previous generations. And it's harder to imagine for me to predict right now, but I don't expect consoles to last the rest of our entire lifetimes. But like, this is what I'm thinking of when I'm like, are video games as we know them today gonna be the same thing when we're crusty old farts who are no longer on top of the cutting edge?
It is gonna be different, but games are still gonna exist though,
in some form. But I wonder if like even big TVs are gonna be a thing. Like if people's living units keep getting smaller, then where are people gonna have time or room to put a TV if they live in their tiny little coffin cubicle in the cyber-apocalyptic dystopia of Neo-Atlanta in the 2080s, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's going crazy. Someone stop him.
You're not going to have room in your little capsule house in the cyber trash district
VR,
of your...
VR.
I feel like you're fucking attacking me. My internet's shit, and I live in a capsule, so...
You do live in Japan, which is like a cyberpunk dystopia already.
I'm already living in the future.
Yeah.
My internet is shit, and I live in a capsule.
People live in tiny apartments. They spend all their time at work, and video games are still a big deal and a normal way to glean entertainment to keep one sane over there.
I mean, Matt is also working his ass off, but he's not in Japan.
Yeah.
He's just living that Japanese life.
Sooner or later.
Vicariously.
Yeah.
Get ready, everybody, to work hard for not a lot of money for the next few decades.
For your gruel.
Starting at some point in the future after the economic and political troubles following this break.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of a contradictory thoughts. Our unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh, and you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Hello, and welcome back to the clinic.
Oh.
Ouch.
Whoa.
After this morning's session on addiction to Tetris and ape sex, we're now going to delve into a therapy session for this afternoon about just general goings-on in the world and how they can affect us and our lives in joyous and both miserable ways. Starting off brightly, we can delve a little more into Nintendo and giving us lots of cool games to look forward to.
There was a Nintendo Direct last week that we only briefly were able to touch on with Jim Sterling around screaming about pigs getting inflated. I briefly screamed about the Link's Awakening remake. Yeah, no, this thing is a really cool opportunity. It's a real cool opportunity for them to channel their 2D Zelda experience recently with A Link Between Worlds, which was fantastic. And to do it with one of the most fondest remembered Zelda stories. I think Link's Awakening is something that'll adapt really well to modern times in terms of being able to throw in foreshadowing and themes for a story that has layers. And I can't believe I didn't want this. Like, it's a game I haven't even thought about for a very, very long time, but it makes a lot of sense for this release window on this system for this particular year in history.
Yeah, just give it to me. Like, I didn't think, if someone had told me that was going to be in the Direct and it's one of the, like, leaks, I'd be like, yeah, sure, that'd be fine. But then saw that trailer, and then it's like, it's like Between Two Worlds kind of art style.
With some Mario in there.
With some, like, Mario.
Oh, yeah,
and
Goombas are there, just like in the original game.
And Chain Chomp,
Yeah.
yeah. And and the people complaining about the art style are the same fucking dicks who complained about Wind Waker's art style like 15 years ago. It's like, how can you complain about this?
How you complain about this art style? It looks like toys.
I know.
I kind of get the complaints. I just don't know if I agree with them wholeheartedly.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, so I remember when they announced
it's your boy, Piss on the Fire Weedman.
I remember when they announced Link Between Worlds and they showed some revealing trailers. The complaint was that they were decreasing the amount of stylization in favor of a more generic modular format, like the new Mario games, for example. And in which characters are very flatly shaded, flatly colored, smooth, lacking in detail. But it has its purpose. I don't know. I didn't end up minding it as much as I thought I would when I was going through Link Between Worlds. Like, everything's...
Do you know what my argument to that would be?
That everything's clear and easy to see. Because that's what I got out of it.
Like, it's reminiscent of two games Nintendo have made, Between Two Worlds and Wind Waker, but can you honestly tell me that it looks the same as both of those games? Or does
Not
it look
quite.
like its own game?
It looks... Everyone looks like a soft plastic toy in this trailer.
Yeah, that's what's so great about it, and that's
Like
where the stylization comes from.
Pokemon.
It is reminiscent while also being its own thing, and like very recognizable, and looks so clear and sweet, and it's a remake of a Game Boy game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Breath of the
And
Wild.
As I played through Link Between World, I ended up getting struck by and actually enjoying how many of the assets are designed to look like straight rips of Super Nintendo sprites. It was really cool seeing that weird-ass looking blobby spidery tree, except from an angle that makes it look like an actual tree.
It looks like I'm watching it again now, and it looks like little plasticine figures moving in real time. It's so gorgeous.
Yeah. So okay, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that like I kind of understand the logic of the complaints. I just don't know. But I do not agree with them. Like I am not complaining. I just feel like I don't
understand why the logic would be there. You're remaking a top-down Game Boy game. How else are you gonna do it?
People complain about everything.
True, but I guess
Very true.
Oh my god, it
There's
looks
answers.
so different from the pixelated garbage on Game Boy. I'm not gonna play it.
The artwork in Link's Awakening on Game Boy was like real cutesy and toyetic. And when they
That was very clear and it worked well.
Yeah.
for the game.
It was good.
when they re-released the game for the DX version, I think there were some story scenes where everyone
Just
is
think of,
chibi
like,
as
the
fuck.
Just think about the giant, like, plasticine windfish that's going to float in the sky. It's going to be great.
With a glare of the sunlight in the background, with the
Yeah.
lens flare that's reflected on some Fong shading on the windfish.
It's almost sexual. How cool.
Yeah, the song's
They-
probably gonna be some real cute orchestral version of it that'll give you tingles.
I think they should, delete that and remake it as like Bravely Default graphics, probably. Where it's just like a pixelated Link going around hitting Goombas and stuff. Yeah.
You know what I hope? I hope they have a hero mode. That's what floored me so much about Link Between Worlds was the difficult mode, where I had to like actually pay attention and be cautious and worry about death in a Zelda game. It's been a long time. Thankfully, I bought the game used from a GameStop where the previous owner had that difficulty mode unlocked for you from the start, and I really appreciate that stuff. Like the hardcore mode in RE2, they let you play that from the beginning for people who've been playing this stuff for 30 years. And I hope that they have an extra mode like that in this remake and that it's available from the start, at least through some cheat code or something at bare minimum. Because I would want to play through the game the first time on the hard mode, whatever they can conjure up for it.
I just want to play this game in portable mode on that Nintendo Switch screen.
Yeah.
Just,
That's another reason why this remake makes a lot of sense is that Nintendo has broken from the typical video game console strategy of making increasingly higher power, more expensive machines for a TV, and gone to a more portable thing that kind of breaks the trends of previous market establishments. And this is a portable Zelda that they're remaking instead of a home one, which makes sense for the platform. It makes so much sense. This makes so much sense.
I mean, you say that, but then you can also play the biggest Zelda ever on the same console. That's
makes so
the
much
beauty
sense.
of Switch. It's the beauty of the Switch.
What
You got
else?
Super Mario Maker 2.
Mario
as
Maker
well.
2. You can have slopes now, right? Right? They announced that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have
Finally.
slopes. Oh man, it's about time this game came to Switch.
I wonder if they're going to be doing campaigns. Because I had a copy of Mario Maker 1 that was provided by the your friends at the Completionist, and
You
I
stopped
could see
playing it
myself
after
playing
a
it.
couple times?
Right, I did, but I can see myself playing it a lot more on the Switch than on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Do you know what's
feel
really
that.
funny? I feel like I'm going to play a lot of other people's levels on this, but I'm not going to make as many levels because
Nah.
the Wii U gamepad was so perfect for making levels with the stylus and having like the duality between the screen in front of you looking like the finished product and also having all the tools on the gamepad. Whereas on the Switch now, you have to use a controller, and it's not as intuitive.
They
Or
still
you have to
have
use
a
the touchscreen.
Touchscreen, right? I just don't know if they pack the.
But you can have your
stylus.
own finger in front of it, and it's a bit obtrusive. Whereas
yeah.
like the gamepad was perfect for making levels, but it was on the Wii U. Whereas now I'm gonna play a lot of other people's levels. I'm probably not gonna make unless it is almost as good as using the stylus, which I doubt it's gonna be because the stylus was just so good for designing levels. It's good. I'm probably not gonna make as many levels because it'll just take double the time, I think.
Also, I just wonder how much they can do to justify Mario Maker 2. Because slopes was a big missing feature from the first one, but it still doesn't feel like something they couldn't have thrown in with a content patch, campaigns or something. It just feels like there's only so many places to go.
What? There's like whole new tools. You've got new settings, and to be fair, you've got an infinite amount of Mario levels. It would be the same price anyway. So why not just make a sequel that's better?
Yeah.
It's gonna be full price, even if it was just the port of the original game. So I'd rather them make it a sequel and justify doing a lot more to it.
I
What's
want
next?
Super Mario World. I want Super Mario.
Yeah.
Just
Astral Chain.
No, Ass Chain.
Astral
Chain. Apart from the terrible title,
yeah,
I'm down for a fucking cyber cop platinum game, action, Bayonetta crossed with Vanquish title. Oh,
I like how 1996 our heroes look.
I thought it was
It's like
Xenoblade
anime
Chronicles.
characters. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Xenoblade Chronicles because that artwork is so very similar to like Xenoblade Chronicles X. The art, I was like, because usually Platinum don't really make anime games. They make Japanese-looking action games that don't like Bayonetta doesn't look like an anime, and even like The Wonderful 101 doesn't look like an anime. Vanquish certainly doesn't look like an anime.
I wonder,
This
Wonderful 101 definitely
anime.
looks like toys. Bayonetta kind of seems like a
it's
more
not anime.
abstracty
anime.
IRL aesthetic.
It still doesn't look like anime. Whereas this is like full on. We're embracing the mechs and like
Akira
cyber
references.
shit. And, and you can ride a cyber wolf.
Their police uniforms are right out of Ghost in the Shell. This is a 90s anime homage.
They've got like psychopath-based weapons.
That dog too. That dog is when they were making Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, they had references to the lead. It was never really popular in the West, but there's some anime where that dog design is a clear inspiration from.
Well, they have like one of the I think it's the Trigger Studio mech designers, like who did Gridman and stuff like that, on the team doing the character design. So, it's going to be pretty mech heavy and robotic heavy. It looks amazing though. Like I'm really interested to see how the combat works out, considering it looks like you're controlling one character and then issuing commands to another. But I don't think Platinum would do it like that. I think you might be able to fight with both the character and also the robot that you're controlling with the astral chain.
They've been there before. Like Wonderful 101 is I don't want to call it like squad based, but
it was certainly different though. Whereas this looked like Bayonetta combat, and then they had like the Vanquish slides, and you could like transform, and it would do like crazy dodges and rolls and stuff like that. There's like a bit where a helicopter's gonna fall on the wolf, and he like fucking slides underneath it and shit like that. And then you have all these different chain powers where you can like detach your chain from the robot and then whip it around the enemy. There's so much going on in the trailer that looks really intriguing if you know the games Platinum make. So,
And last but not least, we have a Hollow Knight sequel in the works. Not part of the direct, but I mean they announced it on just same day, like within the same hype cycle. Yeah, they knew what they were doing with the timing of that announcement.
I'm surprised they weren't like to Nintendo, hey, throw us a bit of money and you can have this one, because that would have just fucking that would have made that direct possibly one of the best directs of all time.
It was real popular on the Switch too.
Yeah,
I believe they made just as much on the Switch as they did on PC.
Yeah, I bought it again on the Switch because it's that good. It's that good. It's one of my favorite games.
So what does our resident bug expert feel about the trailer for the second one?
Looks fantastic.
What's it called again?
Drastic difference. Silk Song.
Yeah.
Silk Song. That's it. That's a great name.
Oh yeah. HKSS.
It's a sequel to Hollow Knight, which I'm proud to sign a prequel.
DLC. Yeah. Which is what everybody thought.
And I don't know. I hope that the mechanics are good because it looks like they're changing drastically how, like your little bug moves. But yeah, it's very interesting because she's in the first game and she does the same attacks that you're going to be doing in this game. So it's nice to see that. It's like it's coming from somewhere. They're not just like building like a new character. It feels like it's like, oh, you're playing that character now in this same world. It's nice. I can't wait for it. I'm usually not hyped up for games, but I will probably be buying that game immediately.
This reminds me
nice.
a lot of Yacht Club's strategy with Shovel Knight. Like They had their big hit first release and then started trickling out future releases with new characters in the same world.
Well, part of that was
small.
part of their Kickstarter DLC, though. They that was planned
And
DLC from
I
the
believe it ended up not working out that well for them. And I'm wondering if Team Cherry is going to be pulling higher numbers behind the scenes by doing them as standalone releases rather than expansions.
I hope so, because Hollow Knight was perfection, and I really hope they spend a long time on this.
It's going to sell bucket loads.
Hollow Knight was popular, surprisingly.
Was it? I'm glad. I'm very, very glad. I didn't see much about it. Like I seen like a couple people talk about it, maybe a couple YouTube videos, but it wasn't like.
What? We're talking about Hollow Knight, right?
Yeah.
Wait, the game was massive.
Was it? I did not.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I think I missed it. That's what it was, because I did play the game later.
I think the trailer for Silksong had like fucking 20,000 retweets or some shit. That game is like
Oh god.
beyond cult classic. It
Good,
was
good.
easily
good.
one of the highest selling games on the Switch last year.
Good. I can't wait. Yeah, that's me. Hollow Knight. If you haven't played the first one, go get it. Go get it if you like Metrovania games. Metrovania.
So
We'll get it on Switch.
we got
Speaking of money,
we got a lot of exciting announcements for new games coming out, and also a less exciting, funny bit of news is that is a news story that we actually have not touched before on this podcast. That was still rippling through the aggregators over the past couple weeks, and that is everyone suing Fortnite over dance moves that it turns out they don't own. Alfonso Ribeiro is the most recent one.
Oh, this is why you haven't talked about it. Okay, yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts, George. Let's talk about this.
The Carlton dance has been ruled as something that the actor who played Carlton in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air does not own for a few reasons. One of which is, it got dismissed out of a courtroom, but a registration specialist working at the California quotes provided the California courts provided the quotes behind why. Basically, since he did the dance for NBC, and the show is owned by NBC, and since he did not market his acting nor character persona in the years since as depending on that dance as a product he was selling, the argument could not be made that he owns dance moves that are being recreated and emulated by other products. And this is... I've heard a lot of people say that this is to be expected and reasonable, and I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just kind of mad that copyright law is so contradictory and so complex and confusing and also contextually ruled in many cases that when trademarks and copyrights are being argued with bigger companies, sometimes you can just basically argue that you own a color, let alone a dance move. Like with super big Fortune 500 companies competing across super big industries, like let's say cell phone providers, I think it can be argued and has been argued, if not in court, then by other legal experts, that companies like companies like T-Mobile own their particular shade of reddish pink that they use in their advertising. And so if another competitor comes up and gets to that level of business using their shade of coloring in their advertisements, it doesn't count. Okay, I don't know. Matt, you sounded like I was going to say something real controversial and offensive here.
I thought so. I thought so. You said funny news. So I was like, oh, okay.
Because it's weird,
it's
right?
Funny that Fortnite is like literally just like making money off of black dances. Like literally just like ripping all of it and making money from it. Like Millie Rock, all of them. Like it's not that it's not illegal. It's just scumbaggish. You know?
Kind of. I mean, there's arguments to be made that these dance moves have superseded their place from the original artists into the popular public culture. But in an ideal world, everyone should have an easy, ethical way to make money to make a living with. I don't know if I feel strongly about either side of this news story so much as I just think it's like funny. It's a funny story evocative of our times and how weird our system is.
Yeah. It's, you know, I could say some really bad stuff, but I think I should shut up. I think I should shut up. I just don't like, a lot of people like to make money off of black culture, so it's a little frustrating to see stuff like that. That's all. It's a little frustrating. But I mean, there's nothing they can do because literally it's a dance, you know? But they know what they're doing. Fortnite knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
And this is not, of course, the only dance move lawsuit against Fortnite.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we haven't gone over a lot of them. I think this is just the most high profile one. But there are some other YouTubers and internet professional memers who have created dances that have ended up in Fortnite. And I guess, I don't know, maybe the lesson we've learned from this is that if you accidentally make a dance on the internet, you're supposed to trademark it and copyright it or something? Like, is that really where... See, this is why I don't feel strongly about it, is that I don't want that to be the case either.
Yeah.
I don't...
Liam?
I don't think I can really touch this because I don't really know. From what I've read about this is the problems with essentially profiting off culture. It is
Specifically black culture.
Specifically black culture, yes. Like, most of the dances are hip-hop based dances or that have come from black
You don't
artists.
see white people creating dances like that.
And the thing is, it's like...
I'm just gonna be honest.
White people can't dance unless it's in Fortnite. So, you know.
No, white people
But,
can dance, for sure. Them kids, oh my God. I'm like, some boys, white people know how to dance.
But those kids are making black people dances uncool. So then black people are just not going to dance because they're like, shit, I can't dance there. I look uncool. Yeah. And that is definitely a problem, I feel, because you shouldn't be profiting off of culture, really. It's like if, like, a game stole a load of Japanese culture and was like, every time you win a game, you do, like, a fucking samurai emote or something like that, and then you do, like, a geisha emote or something.
I don't know if that's the same.
Yeah,
No, like,
400
but if it
years of
was-
slavery definitely makes a big difference.
No, I just feel like dancing is, like, it's hard because if you do make a dance, like, you created that. Like, it's the same as a song, right?
But it's
You
not as
created-
easily copyrightable. Human
No, I know,
movements
and
are not
that
as protected.
I think that ultimately is the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem. Like, it's a gray
God
area
damn it.
where Epic have been smart enough, like, let's be honest, because part of Fortnite's appeal to kids is all of these dances. And why people realize it so much is because they realize about things like the floss, and they know what that is now. It's like a cultural fucking identity associated with that game. And that is the problem. And stuff like this will maybe set a precedent. So if he was successful, that would set a precedent about dancing being more copyrightable.
See, like, I remember, I think I just said, like, yeah, that is the problem. You can't copyright human movements. But I'm thinking, like, should you be... That's the conundrum behind the whole thing.
Like, did Michael Jackson copyright the moonwalk?
He did not. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if he did, but he does not own the moonwalk. Dances have been far more difficult to claim ownership over compared to other works of art, not as dependent on a human being moving their body to perform them.
Yeah, see, I just don't know. I can't really.
All we can learn from this, and many years
If you did make something though, and then, you know, someone just took it one for one and put it in like a movie or something and made a ton of money, you'd be pissed off.
Yeah.
It's not unusual to be sued by anyone.
Oh, no.
It's
Man,
not
that's in bad
unusual
taste.
to sue anyone.
to screw
But when
over
I
anyone.
see you hanging round the courts with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry, I wanna die. That's the actual lyrics of the original song, too.
Tom Jones is gonna live so long that the copyright on his songs is gonna like run out because he's so old.
Yeah, no, the lyrics of the song, a lot more easy to copyright than a character dancing to the song later.
I'm just glad I play ape sex, so I'm not.
Yeah, wait until Ape
Fort
Sex starts
shit.
putting in fucking dance moves, and then we'll see.
And then I'll be like, oh man, this is happening again.
Oh shit! Ah shit!
You guys want
right.
to answer some fan emails?
Let's do it.
You know, I'm going to change my YouTube icon to a bunny.
Okay.
Yeah, bunny.
Okay.
It might be similar to you, George, but you know, it's fine. And
Just
then
cool.
it's gonna
Just
sound
cool.
da-na-na-na-na, and then it's gonna be like a little TV sound. Is that okay?
Like super rabbit hot.
Mega hamster farts might actually become a real thing after all by the sound of things. So, we got a real interesting set of questions this week. First up from Diaz Miatu. Diaz Miatu says, "Hello, Pepaws and baby boys. I noticed that all three of you have taken extensive vacations to Japan, and Liam even lives there. What is it about the country that appealed to you so much that you invest the time and energy to visit? Do you find yourself passing over all the other countries of the world to return to Japan? Are there any other cultures that call out to each of you, and why/why not?"
Europe calls to me.
Technically, I have never taken a vacation to Japan.
You've only gone to work?
I've only ever just lived in Japan. I've never taken a vacation.
Wait, so you made the initial
Decision?
trip to teach without knowing?
I moved to Japan without having ever been
Without
here.
a test run? Holy crap, that is brave.
Well,
Didn't even get your free trial in. Well, free $1,000 trial, more like.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't get my 7-day free trial. My $300 a month membership to Japan.
Huh. That actually,
Why?
that's a whole topic in and of itself. Yeah.
Anyway.
I want to ask you on that one, but until then, let's go down the list of all three of us.
Well, the question to me is different than it is to you guys.
Yeah.
Why have you guys come to Japan for a vacation?
Well, I do like travel, and I like to see the world, see different cultures. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
already know this. Japan, I don't know. You grow up watching anime, you grow up watching all this stuff, and you're like,
Yeah.
how is Japan really though? You know, it's not how people really think it is. And I wanted to destroy that
And it is totally fucking different.
this idea that Japan is just some wild ass place, where there's anime. Well, technically there's a lot of anime around.
Yeah. I was surprised by that. I think
It depends where you go. You're talking about Tokyo.
Yeah, we're talking about Tokyo. Yeah.
we thought
Yeah.
it would be more of a nerdy thing, but it's more mainstream than I expected.
That's like going to New York and being like, wow, there is a lot of pizza. I didn't realize there'd be a lot of pizza here in New York. It's the same thing. You're in fucking New York.
Yeah, I guess exploring a culture that's completely different than the U.S. is what I enjoy about it, and plus how safe I feel there compared to
Yeah.
the U.S.
Yeah.
I know that's a weird thing to say, but I feel significantly safer there. I can ask anybody for help. No one's gonna give me a weird reaction based on any appearance. It's just straight up, just hey, what's going on? This and
Yeah.
this. It's a different experience to me, and I think that's why I enjoyed my time there so much. It's a combination of that.
Also, a very easy answer to why we talk about Japan a lot in regards to Dad and Sons, and it comes up frequently, is, well, one, I live here. Two, though both of those guys have been here. But three, Japan is, next to the US, the only country in the world you really associate video games with.
Mm-hmm.
And with it being a video game based podcast, we're going to be referencing Japan all the time. It just happens to tie into everything else. It's kind of why it comes up on Dad and Sons all the time. It's because especially for me, you associate Japan with video games.
There's like a big ass Gundam.
It's the easy answer.
Japan does that. Like the USA doesn't do that. Like maybe
Japan knows.
In like my case, I mean, god damn, they're
Is Mr.
hammering
Driller
on the
back?
walls.
God damn.
No, it's Mr. Hammering.
It's fucking Mr. X.
I was about to say someone could write a book. Chances are there have been books written. There have been dissertations written about Japanese pop culture industry growing up in the 90s. All three of us are of a generation where Japan's soft power ballooned in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Like, Japan knows what it has.
Right. It was a very actually deliberate strategy that they embraced as national policy in the 2000s with the Cool Japan initiative to bring up tourism. Nowadays, there's a lot more competition from China and South Korea for making Asia's soft power appeal to Western markets, and I wonder if kids don't have that same experience these days.
Yeah, and speaking of, so we can mute George for a second.
Yeah.
And speaking of...
the stupid hammering.
I've traveled to a heck of a lot of countries around. I've been super fortunate where I've traveled around a lot of Europe. I've been to, like, the US, I've been to Brazil, I've been to Singapore, I've been to China, and, like, I've been to a lot of places, and... the best vacation I ever went on, and other culture that I thought was incredible, was Korea. And Korea is a wonderful place. Like, truly, if I wasn't going to live in Japan and I wasn't going to live in the UK, because fuck God no if I'm going to live in the US, I'd live probably in Korea. Because just Asian culture and the way Asian societies are, in terms of like what Matt went back to about safety and general like friendliness and a lot of like Asian culture is built around like socialness, like going out and eating every night and having a beer with your like friends and colleagues like multiple times through the week. Like being out of your apartment is generally like what Asian life is all about. Whereas in the UK, it's the complete opposite. It's like you have your home, you build your home and make it really nice because you barely ever leave it because 1, it's raining, or 2, it's colder, and 3, going out is super expensive. Japan is the complete opposite, and it suits me a lot better. I prefer to be out of my apartment, out doing stuff, than being at home. And Japan suits me a lot for that.
Where else do we want to travel besides Korea?
Europe. I definitely want to go everywhere in Europe.
Everywhere?
Everywhere.
Why?
I want to go to Taipei next, actually.
I've never been. Italy, all that. I just want to go. Like
Italy is
Euro
I really want to go to Rome. I think, like, if I have to answer that question, like, the other culture that calls out to me right now, at least, is this history phase I'm going into, where I'm, like, really into the history behind the Roman Empire and how it, like, formed a proto-Europe of the colonies that grew up to be the NATO nations, and how a lot of the law and bureaucracy has shown up in modern constitutions since Napoleonic time. It's like the butterfly effect. So much of like European culture that I come from, I'm finding is surprisingly rooted in Rome and Greece, and I think I'd want to go there next just for vacation. Yeah. I don't know if I could make a tax break out of that trip.
I want to travel more of South America. I want to go to places like Argentina and Uruguay and Colombia and places like that. That's what I would ultimately really like to do. Also, while we're speaking of travel, very quickly, seriously, if you've not traveled, ever, and you've never really thought about it, please give it a thought.
Yeah. The news,
because, like, man, traveling is just
it's needed.
News and history makes a lot more sense after traveling, because when you go through border checkpoints, like, you see foreign policy in action. When you walk around an economy different than your own, you're seeing economic policy in action, and you don't really, like, there's no faster way to, like, teach the complexities of international politics and economics besides traveling and seeing the results of it yourself.
Not even that. Like, that makes it sound like a negative. But, like, on the flip side of that is, like, you will never understand why people can be so patriotic and feel, like, isolated and live in isolationism after you've traveled, because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, culture will make more sense. The language people speaking, forming the voice in their head, will be a concept that makes a lot more sense if you immerse yourself in a foreign culture for a little while.
Not even immersing, just tasting like how other people live, because to be honest, people don't live that different from you. It's just in a different language, and things maybe look a little different, but honestly, traveling is great.
Just don't take the taxis in Beijing unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Take the taxis in Korea though, because they are so cheap. I couldn't even believe it. I traveled all the way across Seoul for like $5. It was amazing.
Don't get a taxi off the street in Beijing. Get one with a phone call or at the airport.
I can tell you there'll be a hell of a lot less hammering wherever you go.
I can't believe they think they're communist.
Next question.
Wow.
Robert R. asks, if you want it. This is a bonus question, actually, that he included. I actually like the bonus question here. What is an older game that you wish to be remade in a similar fashion to the Resident Evil 2 remake? Not a remaster, but a full new game of the same theme.
Well, we touched on this earlier in the episode about remasters and remakes. I don't really know.
I got one.
What?
Can you intersect it between?
Yeah, in between the hammering. I'm going to try like hell to edit this stuff out. But Baldur's Gate 2 remade in the vein of The Witcher 3. Like an over-the-shoulder third-person RPG with really, really complicated cityscapes. Man, I wish I could pronounce the name of the capital city in Baldur's Gate, but Athkanthathanchan is a huge video game city bundled with quests and interesting NPCs and interesting townsfolk, and I would love to see it in a more high-fidelity perspective that just brings that city to life.
Too human. Should we make that? Keep coming back to the greatest game of all time. There was this mechanic in Thinker 2 that I absolutely love. The Dryad had this poison that would spread across the whole 20% of the map and kill everything. I would have if they could ever remake a game like that again, that would be great. But like I don't think they'll ever do something like that, where like a whole map was like that was the world you go through until like you reach the end of that map on the other side. I can't. It was a very interesting game during that time. Probably shouldn't get remade. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Hope.
Probably not.
I mean,
Probably
after
not.
seeing Wasteland 2 come out, sell all right, and get ported across a whole bunch of different platforms.
Bit different to Too Human.
I mean, if Wasteland 2 can happen, I feel like the bar is wide open for a lot of weird stuff to come back. Definitely Baldur's Gate, maybe even Too Human.
Well, Baldur's Gate is coming to the Switch, so you'll be fine.
There's still an active community around it, yeah. So I feel like it could happen.
It's one of the most popular PC RPGs of all time.
Dennis Dyack, he's coming back.
I would really like. I would probably like the Super Mario Land games from the Game Boy remade in the new Super Mario Bros.
I was thinking about Super Mario, but like those are good.
They're weird.
Yeah, they're super weird and they have funky art style, and it's like Wario's first game for number 2. That'd be great.
They're like weirder. Super Mario Land 2 Mario is further removed from the main franchise than like Link's Awakening is to the regular Zeldas. Like those are some weird bizarro Mario games that would be fun to take another look at.
Yeah, remake them, make them crazy, do it in the new Super Mario Bros. 2D art style without Mario looking really chubby when he's tiny.
Wait.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Wait, are you talking about Super Mario World? Or are you talking about some other Mario? Which one were you talking about? All of them?
I want them to make the Super Mario Land games from the Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
1 and 2 in the style of the new Super Mario Bros.
Oh, okay. Because Super Mario World is perfect and should not be remade.
They would have a lot of fun with the soundtrack.
That is the best Mario soundtrack.
That's a real good one.
Yeah. That's Super Mario World.
All right, last question, not least. This one is a quick one. Aubrey G asks, "Hey, Dad/Sons.
One of our original daughters.
Probably not the most relevant question since this is a gaming podcast, but what are your hobbies outside of video games?"
Finally, something outside. All right.
Yeah.
I like to do experiences I haven't done before. 2 weeks ago, I went ATVing, and that was an experience. That was an experience, let me tell you. Yeah.
I've done quad biking before, but I've never
Yeah, a 4-wheeler.
like full blown.
I flipped over the handlebars when I did that as a kid.
I drove a Honda 450cc, if anyone knows what that is, and went over some dunes on the beach. It was wild. It's crazy. They go to like 37, the highest, 37 miles per hour. It is wild to like jump off a cliff. Like I
bet
don't,
it's safe too. Like if you land on sand dunes, that's a soft thing to land on if you fall.
I did land very weirdly, and I got thrown off the bike, hit my head so hard, and the helmet was on, so I was fine. But wow, that scared the life out of me. Never wanted to fall again, and I did
Still got the visual.
But yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. I went to sea caves when I was over here. Different beaches and stuff. 1,000-foot beach they have here in California, and they have like this sea cave. If you go during low tide, has like this other beach on the other side of this cave. It's like a little hidden beach. It's nice, and you can take like people go there like take pictures and stuff. It's just pretty much exploring. And California just has a lot of places to explore.
Outside of video games, in terms of hobbies, I like exercising. I like going to the gym and stuff like that. I really like playing soccer, or football. I really like playing soccer when I get the chance to. I used to play weekly, but since I moved to Kyoto, I don't know where I can play anymore. I really, really like doing that.
They don't have soccer clubs?
They do. They have like these things called futsal clubs, but it's kind of hard to get into them because you have to commit in a truly Japanese way.
Oh, that's...
I don't think I can do that right now. On top of that, like, I really like, it's going to sound so cliche, but Japan has some of the best cafes in the world. I love going to cafes and reading. I love it. Especially since I moved to Kyoto, I go to like a different cafe every day, different restaurant or something. I love getting out and reading in a cafe. I love having an excuse to read in a cafe. Give me your book recommendations, because I've nearly finished Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archives, and I need more cool books to read. But yeah, reading, getting out.
I can't believe how easy it is for me to believe that Japanese people take their casual sports clubs way too seriously for you.
Yeah, well, it's more about time commitment than anything. Like, I take soccer incredibly serious because I've played for 25 years, and I'm
Jesus.
at one point a
Old man.
Pretty significant level. In terms of taking the game seriously, I can do that. It's more like the time commitment. They're like, you have to be here on Tuesday at fucking 6 p.m. on the dot, otherwise you can't play. And it's like, well, I've got a job,
I like cooking.
You do like cooking.
You do.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a chef for the longest time before I wanted to be a writer, before I wanted to write about video games.
You still want to be a chef.
I worked at a cooking school for 6 years. Didn't mention it back then, but for the first 2 years of Bunny Hop, I was working in a cooking school as my day job, assisting cooking classes, cleaning the place up, helping out the instructors, and I love it. I think it's a great hobby to get into. I think it is healthy. I think it's frugal. I think it's sexy. It definitely makes dating easier when you cook with your date.
I mean, that's the only time I ever find cooking interesting, because otherwise, fuck me, it's boring.
Cooking in Japan is they do not build, as you were saying earlier, the culture is not geared for home life, and you can tell because if you compare a Japanese kitchen in a standard Japanese apartment to a Western kitchen in any Romantic or German speaking language country, their kitchens are way bigger, they're way more equipped. You have a single gas eye in most of the Japanese houses I've been to, with barely any counter room, just like a single gas eye next to a sink with some cabinetry around it. Where do you put your cutting board?
I don't. It's right next to like my sink. It's tiny.
Meanwhile, if you look at my kitchen, I have the $120 chef's knife that I sharpen and shrew to keep it going my entire lifetime, like you should. I have a papercrete cutting board. Well, papercrete. It's some kind of crete made out of pressed wood materials that recovers in the dishwasher that'll last your whole lifetime, like you should. I have a couple Maytag appliances, a nice gas range, and no electric. Can't have that if you want to cook seriously. Le Creuset is all up in my kitchen. I got my cast iron grill pans, and I think I'm good at it. I make a mean curry, and curry ain't easy.
I can make a good Japanese curry, but that's all I can make.
I think the fanciest thing I've ever done was a Japanese-style lunchbox in which me and the girlfriend made teddy bears out of rice, out of sticky rice that we molded into cute little teddy bear shapes with little eyes and mouth made out of nori and eggs and stuff. And it wasn't like difficult food to mess up, but it was difficult presentation to mess up. And there's a picture of that I'm real proud of somewhere on my Twitter over the last 2 years.
Somewhere in the ether.
Yeah. But yeah, I love cooking. I eat anything. I love eating. I love the culinary world. And if I have to change careers in the future, that is going to be an option.
Good luck to you.
Just wish it was...
Mr. Hammer's gonna fucking come kill you.
Yeah. We should probably get out of here before Mr. Hammer comes kill me.
We need to get out of here.
So...
But did you get the lever to put inside the jack so we can get up to the clock tower?
Did you open the electrical box to take out the spark plug to place into the dynamite to blow up the cage?
While we do that, we have to kite Mr. X back and forth away from these puzzle pieces so that we can reach them.
But oh no, we caused the bug where there are two Mr. X's.
Oh shit, I guess we're gonna die.
George, you distract that one. Matt, you distract that one.
Well, you can't. They've got the corridors blocked. The podcast is yeah.
If you have any emails, questions, or Dad Den, although we have had a lot of Dad Den submissions recently.
Oh, we got a backlog of Dad Dens ready to go.
We got a backlog of those. That's Jim's fault. Please send them to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, if you enjoy the show, go to iTunes and rate it. 5 out of 5. 6 out of 5 if you can break it.
Mm-hmm.
Share it on Twitter.
Go to SoundCloud and so no one cares about SoundCloud. Just find the RSS feed and do some good shit with it.
What do you mean? SoundCloud is amazing.
SoundCloud is SoundCloud.